Well, hey, Andrew, it's great to have you. First off, hey, just kind of introduce yourself and kind of tell us about your role at Vodafone to start off.
Sure. Well, again, my name is Andrew Morawski. I run the Americas business for Vodafone for machine to machine. Um, we we have a global structure, so in that I sit within the U.S. and manage everything from down in Latin America up through Canada.
Okay, sounds great. Now, what's Vodafone's position right now in the M2M and market right now? Like you said, Latin America. We know that you guys are doing a lot of business in Latin America. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are some of the key strategies that Vodafone's actually doing right now.
Sure. Well, look, overall, I'll start from a what's been happening recently, just from an overall market perspective and machine to machine for Vodafone. Just this past year, we hit the 18.6 million endpoints number, which was a huge accomplishment for us. So we're really proud of that. So as far as getting there, the strategies that are helping us, that have gotten us there in the market, I think is we had an early commitment from our CEO, Vittorio Colau, to make. Do we want to get that? to get a to make machine to machine one of the key pillars of our strategy going forward from an overall business perspective in Vodafone. So what that enabled us to do early on is make early investments in building out a true global platform. So again, I don't know how familiar everyone is from a Vodafone perspective, but we've got mobile networks in 26 different countries around the world. We've got partner networks in another 55 markets around the world. We've got fixed line assets in another 17 markets around the world. So what we were able to do from a strategic perspective is build our global M2M platform, which pulled together all these global resources that we had.
Now, one of the things when we talk about the M2M market, obviously the obvious question comes up is there was a lot of hype surrounding the market. I mean, you'd had all these industry experts and different analysts, predicting that this market was going to be enormous, but it, never reached the size of it, but it's still going to be a big market and there's a lot of opportunity there. What are some of the key forces that you think a lot of people actually missed in the market when they're actually overhyping in the industry?
Yeah, look, from my perspective, I actually don't think there's a lot of overhype in the market. I think it's a limitless market. I just think everyone here knows, especially walking around the show floor. I think what was missed is more of a focus. If you look at any new market, the way I look at it at least is you've got crawl, walk, run. I think from a kind of a marketing hype perspective, everybody just focused on the run. We can connect everything and we could do it immediately. But what's the real benefit that brings to the table? And I think that's the piece that was missing. From a Vodafone perspective, in machine to machine, our strategy from the beginning has been to connect every machine to transform business and transform life and transform business. That has kept us very focused on real life applications. And I think that's why and I think Shiraz mentioned it as well. All the things he was talking about were all very tangible and real today. Not, I'm going to pay an extra $15 a month to be able to turn on my light bulb with my smartphone. So from that perspective, I think it wasn't so much hype. I think it's all there. I think it's just a matter of having that right focus.
Now, when we talk about one of the key challenges in the market, we see it as a challenge towards adoption, is security. I mean, you look at security breaches, all these different devices connected to the internet, and it seems to be a huge issue in the marketplace. What are some of the best practices that you're seeing right now in the market to overcome some of that fear that some enterprises may have in terms of adopting M2M in terms of security?
Yeah, look. So what I've seen in the use cases that we've worked on over the course of the past few years, the problem has been up to this point is an awareness factor. We put out a report last year actually called the M2M Barometer, and it came out 72% companies who are deploying M2M solutions in the coming year had a focus on security, a concern about security. If you look at that a few years back, it was not nearly as high. When I first stepped into this role, and I come from the fixed line side of the business, so I'm used to dealing with wide area networks where all that stuff is really not security. Yeah, it's secure. It's all done in the endpoint by the enterprise. The key thing that I enjoyed when I first stepped into the business was the lack of IT involvement in these deployments. Everything was done by the product folks. Everything was done by the business development guys, bringing a new product to market. It was all exciting. So I think that's the part that was missed. That awareness now, and in all the new projects that we're working on now, IT is kind of in the forefront from a security perspective, and what's needed to happen in our discussions with customers. When you're adding that many endpoints to your network, you've got to take a holistic approach to security that encompasses all that. So that's what's starting to happen now. So overall, I think the boat that was missed, or that area that whatever's going to raise that level of comfort, is simply that awareness.
And last question here. Since you cover the Americas, like you said, from Canada and Latin America, what are some of the insights that you can give us a little bit about the differences between those, the three different markets in the Americas, and maybe what might you see different, because, in Europe versus the Americas in terms of M2M?
Yeah, so that's actually a good one. And being a global provider, it gives us a unique view of that. Look, I think you can, when it comes to globalization, right? That's not going to slow down. We're going to see tremendous press forward from a globalization perspective. But what I see is, all these local market innovations that I see in our markets in Italy, or our markets in Greece, or Hungary, or the UK, or even here in North America. There are so many pockets of innovation that aren't being shared globally. So one of the things that we've been able to bring to the table is globalizing that local innovation. So that's been really a key to our success. Also, from a local perspective, local market perspective, in Latin America or North America or Canada or Europe even, there's no scale in deploying in a single country. Right, so the benefits of taking a step up to and having a global approach to an M2M deployment really has made a big difference for us.
Well, that sounds great, Andrew. Hey, I'd like to thank you for participating today. Thanks a lot.